Today we're going to continue looking at histograms. Yesterday you learned that a histogram is a kind of like a bar graph, and it represents how frequently numeric data occurs. So if you could open your books to page 480, we're going to take a look at an example of a histogram. So in this case, you can see that this is a histogram that refers to this statement about bird watching. So a bird watcher counts and records the number of birds at a bird feeder every morning at 9 a.m. for several days. And we have a selection of data here, and a collection of data, I should say. And you can see it's all jumbled up, right? There's a lot of different numbers here. So our goal is to organize it and put it in a form that's easy to read. So step one is to make a frequency table. Now, a frequency table is when you count the number of occurrences for a particular value. What's different about this frequency table is that rather than just putting one number in the frequency table and how often it occurs, we are doing a range of numbers. So we're looking to see how often were there 1 to 4 birds, how often were there 5 to 8 birds, how often were there 9 to 12 birds, and how often were there 13 to 16 birds. So we're kind of grouping the data as opposed to each individual number. So then you can just count them up. So between 1 and 4, that occurred here, 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 and that's the 8. Oops, one more. And that would be the 8 that you see that were counted up and put into the frequency table. Okay, so all we're doing really is organizing the data in a way that will make it easy to read. Trying to erase this. Okay, so now the goal will be to put this into a a histogram. So let's look at the histogram that is already drawn up for you. So on the x-axis, which is the horizontal axis, you see the title is birds. So this would be the number of bird sightings. On the y-axis, we have the frequency. So that would be the number of times that number of birds happen. So now when you look at the way that the intervals are set up, we have 1 to 4 as a range, and it happened from the frequency table. We can see it happened 8 times, and that's why the bar is drawn up to the 8 level. Okay, so this is what a histogram is. It's just basically a bar graph, but sometimes it may include these ranges on the x-axis versus individual numbers. Now, say we didn't have this frequency table. All we had was the histogram. Could you tell me how many times this bird watcher counted the number of bird sightings? Well, you could by adding up this, I get a different color here, this 8 plus this 4 plus 2 plus this is probably 1, and that would give you the total number of bird sightings. So let's try making a histogram together on the next page where it says your turn right here. All right, so we are looking at page 481. At the top of the page, it says your turn. This is number 4. Kim has started using a rating. Has started rating each movie she sees using a scale of 1 to 10 on an online site. And these are the ratings that she has come up with so far, and we want to make a histogram. So you can see this histogram has already been started for you. So if you look at the x-axis, we have the actual rating. So that's the numeric value, and it comes from this data that we have listed here. Now, if you look closely, you can see that the data, the ratings are grouped together, and they're grouped in 1 to 2, 3 to 4, 5 to 6, 7 to 8, 9, and 10. And each of those rating groups has the same range, right? From 1 to 2 is 1, from 3 to 4 is 1, from 5 to 6 is 1. And that's done intentionally, right? When you group the values, you have to do them in equal intervals. Okay, so the first thing we need to do is organize our data into a frequency table. So we want our frequency table really to match what the histogram is going to look like. So we have a range of 1 to 2, and we want to know how often that happens. 3 to 4, 5 to 6, 7 to 8, and 9 to 10. And so we can do like a tally marks if we want. So I'm going to go through the data here, and every time I'm going to put each data point into the frequency table. You should do this also. So we have a 6, a 9, an 8, and so on. Just keep going, putting each value in the frequency table where it goes, or accounting for it anyway. All right, so now we know how many ratings occurred within each range. So from 1 to 2, there's 1 time she rated a movie that way. From 3 to 4, twice she did. So now we're going to go to the histogram and draw the bars. And we want each bar to be a different color. And you can see that the lines on the y-axis here are, we're counting by 2s. So to do that first bar, we only want to go halfway, and we color it in, okay? And then from the 3 to 4 range, there were 2 ratings like that. So we're going to connect that bar to the next from the previous bar, so they should share a side. Change colors then to get to the 5 to 6 rating happened 3 times. So we draw that bar. And then looks like we have 7 occurrences of 7 to 8. So we're going to grow up. That's obviously the greatest range, or the greatest frequency. And then 2 for the final one. I'm going to go back to red here. And so now what we have is a visual representation of this data, which is easy to read and very pretty to look at. All right, let's move to the top of page 482. It says that Wendy kept track of the number of text messages she sent each day for 3 weeks, and we need to complete the frequency table. So the table has been started, and it shows that the first interval is going to be from 0 to 9. So what is that range? Well, we're going from 0 to 9. To find the range, you would subtract 9 minus 0, and you get 9. So that means each interval has to have a range of 9. So if naturally we would start at 10 next, and to go 9 more than that would be to 19, and then 20 would be next to 29, and 30 to 39. So the range of each interval is 9. All right, so now that we know the intervals, we need to go to the data and count how many times each of those values occur. So from 0 to 9, this is already listed from least to greatest, so that makes it a little bit easier. So from 0 to 9 happens 4 times. From 10 to 19, let's see, looks like it's 3 times. 20 to 29, there's 4 there. Oops. And 5 more there, so that makes 9 times. And then we have 5 between 30 and 39. So this was just an opportunity to practice thinking about intervals and then making sure the frequency matches the data. Okay, so in this next problem, it says Ed counted the number of seats available in each cafe in his town, and we're supposed to use this data here for the frequency table and then here for the histogram. Now, this data is not listed in order from least to greatest if you look at the data. So the intervals here are a range of 6, because 7 minus 1 is 6, 14 minus 8 is 6, 21 minus 15 is 6, and 22 minus 28 is 6. So the intervals are good. So now we just need to kind of tally it up. 18, 20, 22, 26, 10, 12, 16 would go there, 18 would go there, 7 would go there, and 8 would go there. So that's our frequency. And now we probably want to add them up. So you can see there's 1 here, 3, 4, and 2. And we could double check to see that we have that the number that this adds up to, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, matches the number of data values that we have. That way we make sure we accounted for all of them. So now we're just going to draw the bar graph. So between 1 and 7, there was only 1. So you would draw the bar graph there. 8 to 14 had 3. Change your color and draw your bar up to 3. 4 for the next range. So we'll draw that bar graph, color it in. And then the last one was a 2. And again, we have a nice visual presentation of our data. All right, so I'd like you to work on page 483. You can check your answers with the key when you are done. Good luck.